like I was a kindergarten teacher and every now and then there was a kid. I don't understand how to help your child. Let's have a conversation rather than your child's a mess. I can't discipline him. It's always an I message. And that's part of the magic wording that I bring to people. Keep it an I message. Once you go you got your guns out. So if fixing, I mean, we can't fix the war on the planet. There's been Cain killed Abel, in the Old Testament, in our culture memory. It's like, we're not going to stop hitting each other. We're not going to stop who's in charge, who's got all the toys, and but inwardly, how can we find an inner harmony so our mind doesn't keep stopping what our heart desires? How do we do what we love? And the money will follow. That was a book, right? How do we do what we love and feel fed by it and nurtured by it? And it's looking at different parts. Dick Schwartz, internal family systems. It's like we have different parts in us. And when one part feels like it's took us over, like, no, you can't do that. You're not good enough. You need to do this mundane job that you hate because da, 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 da. It's like, thank you for advising me. Just step aside for a minute. I want to hear the heart. Or I want to hear, a different part of me. Can you step aside? So it's having all those different things that feel like this one's in charge, no, this one's in charge, and they're internally at war with each other, and getting them to step aside for a minute and even having a conversation. Okay, the manager is going to talk to the firefighter right now, and look at the conversation rather than they're having this, I'm so exhausted every day because this is going on. It's like having a whole bunch of kindergartners and they're doing chaotic things. It's like, so you pick one child and another and you connect with them and you build something with them, you make peace, and all of a sudden the whole classroom's in harmony. It's the same within us. We've got a bunch of kindergartners running around. And how to say, okay, there's chaos because they're not feeling connected. Number one for any child is connection. And that's where a lot of the trauma comes in, is when you do something, the milk spilled and you go to your room, the child was feeling disconnected and kind of out of it anyway. Now he's really being disconnected. So he feels shamed and blame, and that all that stuff starts come out when you stop crying, rather than I'm here for you. Give me your tears. I can handle it. So we do the same within us. So how do we nurture those parts? Then you're really afraid that's going to happen. Thank you for protecting me, but I want to try something. Just don't leave. Just hold them dear. That's part of the treasure that's hidden. And let's try this. What do you think? Yeah, it worked, didn't it? Come on. What are your ideas that could make it work better?
So who is the teacher who's speaking right now?
Consciousness.
We have all these parts in us. How many parts do we have? I don't know. I guess
it's infinite.
Infinite parts.
And you can give them lots of names.
So in IFS, there's there's an understanding of parts, but I haven't gone deep enough into IFS to understand, hey, is there really a part that's controlling my life? And if so, how do I float above all parts to be able to be the watcher, the observer, the teacher that brings them all together instead of for war, for peace, or for harmony, for combing?
Who's the United Nations person? Yeah. Well, it's the higher mind. They say the cerebellum doesn't really fully develop till you're in your late 20s. If kids do something really crazy in their early 20s, they're not totally connected yet. And maybe they even have a midline crisis. They haven't done enough movement as a young child, right, left brain, to create this bridge between the two sides of the, so
the physical movement or other
physical movement. That's what creates the connection between the two sides. And then this brain, the higher brain, let alone getting out of the lizard brain, we're all activated. So that's physiologically, that's the watcher.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so the reptilian brain is like, get away from me. I'm going to kill you. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Let's have sex. That's the reptilian brain. But the higher mind, I've heard it, called as the enteric nervous system. Our gut is the second brain.
Yeah.
So you said earlier that our gut is never wrong.
Yeah.
But what if somebody's gut has been encoded by so much deep trauma that potentially, like in my case, hypervigilance in our gut says, oh, this person can't be trusted. But maybe they can be trusted. Maybe it's actually me projecting my quote gut feeling onto that person. And I want to, respectfully challenge you on that and get your elder wisdom on that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, oh, well, if you feel it in your gut, then that's the truth. And it's like, I don't think so, because if somebody has a gut-brain axis dysbiosis where their microbiome and their gut flora is destroyed, well, then how do we know that their gut is leading them to the wrong path?
It comes from a constipated place.
It comes from a constipated place. Yeah. Or like in my case, I've gotten to do with yourself and many people before I met you, a lot of work on just, hey, it's actually okay to trust people and give people the benefit of the doubt, Josh, because your hypervigilance has nothing to do with how this person's showing up. So the true sharpening of my intuition of when I can trust people or not is, can I trust myself when I'm with that person, regardless of the outcome? That's a real barometer of truth for me.
And part of that watcher, that awareness is in the pause. Like, do I need to react because it's dangerous, or can I just pause? The pause allows us to respond. But to truly respond, we need to wait a minute for that person to, by osmosis, to come, maybe not totally into us, but really experience that other person and even respond like, and that was part of our early talking too, of, your partner says something you don't agree with, you repeat what they say. Oh, I heard you say you don't like da 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 da. Tell me, and then curiosity. So you've created compassion because interest, and you've created safety. So that person can really start saying what they really meant rather than in anger or frustration. So the same with your gut. It's like your gut goes, oh, no way. You go, oh, okay. So you somatically go and you feel your gut, put your hand on it. It's like, yeah, I hear you. It's really tight down there. Thank you for creating safety for me. And then you might even ask that person or that opportunity, ask some questions, get curious, soften the space, unless it's really dangerous. It usually isn't.
Yeah.
It feels like it because it was dangerous before. As a young kid getting yelled at, that's dangerous.
There's a memory of a parent or an experience informing the current moment that actually doesn't let the moment
This is scary. This invalidates everything. When you tell a child no, and I've seen it, every little kid I've seen, when a parent goes no, their whole world says no. And it's okay. We got to do it sometimes, like, no, don't touch that fire. And they're like, but then it's you're there for them. You pull them aside, you soften them. Yeah, that fire's really hot. Look at that. Can you feel the warmth of it? That's repairing. That's allowing the trauma not to go. And you say, no, don't touch that. I told you, you go over here. And, it's shame, blame. And that happens again and again. And then the child comes out, I'm not a good person.
Yeah.
I have to be this way to be acknowledged because I need to stay attached to my parent.
Hey, if you loved that clip you just saw, watch the full video. That clip was just a taste, just a piece, the tip of the freaking iceberg of what you just witnessed and what you just felt. Click the link on this screen, subscribe to the podcast, click the link on this screen if you're vibrating, if you're resonating, if you feel what I'm putting down.